Bryan Buckley is a former special operations team commander with the Marine Raiders. That's related to the reason that he's here. Unrelated to the reason that he's here is that we actually graduated from the same high school, albeit I was in the class of 1980, he was in the class of 1999. More importantly, for our purposes, he's the founder and president of the Helmand Valley Growers Company. Bryan, it's nice to have you here. I've appreciated reading about your business venture.
Michael, it's great to be here, and go CB West.
Did you ever think that you would end up growing cannabis?
Not at all. Didn't think I'd be here in a million years, but we found a problem and we're presenting a solution. So excited to be making this happen.
Before we talk about the problem and the solution, tell me about your military background.
Yeah. It was kind of interesting. I was getting recruited by a Naval Academy out of high school, really had no interest in the military. Then after the events of 9/11, I just said it was time for me to go earn my citizenship. So left the University of Massachusetts, went to Villanova University, and was commissioned in the Marine Corps. Spent time in the infantry, Marine reconnaissance, and then a majority of my career in Marine Special Operations as a Marine Raider.
Led multiple teams in deployment to Operation Enduring Freedom, Trans-Sahara in Africa, Southeast Asia, Operation Enduring Freedom, Afghanistan, Helmand Province, which I guess is where the naming comes from for your company?
That is correct. Within our unit, when you served in the Helmand Province, you became part of the Helmand Valley Gun Club, and you get an HVGC tattoo. So we really wanted to keep a military niche to our organization. So we threw HVGC up on the wall, and we came up with Helmand Valley Growers Company and talked to the guys, said, if we're good, we're going to go ahead and trademark this. And all the guys were in great support. So HVGC was born.
And it's not just that you are hearkening back to military service and seeking to, earn a profit by growing weed. There's a causal connection to all of this. That's what we really need to explore.
Absolutely. We really identified what was going on with veterans. I myself am 100% disabled, and there are certain limitations of the VA due to them being a federal agency. I started noticing what was going on with some friends while they're using medical cannabis, and we looked at it in a way of like, let's not just be advocates. Let's see if we can move the dial here. Had an opportunity to talk with some members of the United States Congress. They said, you guys need to go get data and go get American doctors to back it up, and you're going to have a good argument. And, through a lot of twists and turns, we've found our way. We're working with a company out of Israel called Niamedic Healthcare Service and Research. And we also have doctors from University of California, Irvine on board with our first study. And it's an institutional review board, which means we've been cleared for human trials. And we're going to see if medical cannabis can help with the symptoms of post-traumatic stress. And the reason why we had HVGC is to help fund the research. And 100% of our profits goes back to our nonprofit, Bowder Brothers Foundation, in order to support the research.
So I kind of buried the lead. The lead is that you are now involved in research. I don't know of other research that's been done to finally button down the potential connection between treatment of PTSD with medical cannabis.
Yes, there has been some. Obviously, Israel is pretty far ahead of us by a couple decades. They've been doing research. There's also been some Americans here who have also done research. What makes ours unique is we have a private IRB, so we are not tied into the NIDA program, which is ran out of the University of Mississippi, which is they have a DEA license. Where when you do research with them, you have to use the cannabis they provide. What's great with us is we're able to use cannabis that we can help grow. We can, move and manipulate as we start learning more in the research and find an effective strain that helps out with the solutions of post-traumatic stress.
So in the trials that you'll be conducting, will you be focused only on those with military experience?
Yes, this is going to be with veterans. The first study will be here in California with only veterans in California. And we'll go from there, and we probably will do about 2 more studies, another larger study in California. Then we'll look to move into a different state. But we know what's going to be a great byproduct is if we can get this to a point where it's federally legal medical wise for veterans, they're going to open up to all the patients in America. So just being veterans, we want to kind of lead the fight and punch this thing into the end zone.
And that effort wouldn't be hindered, again, accepting that your findings bear fruit. That effort wouldn't be hindered by the status of cannabis being a Schedule I narcotic?
Well, it does make things tricky being a Schedule 1 narcotic, but I think as we start proving more data and showing that it does have medical benefits, they will have to start moving it down the schedule to hopefully a Schedule 3 or 4, or just unschedule it. I'm sure you know what happened in the UN and with the World Health Organization back in December, but the UN removed cannabis from the 1971 treaty, and then also the World Health Organization came out and said there is medical benefit with cannabis. So it seems like the timing is right, and I think not only the world but our country is kind of ready to accept this.
What was the milestone that made you think? I'm sure it was something anecdotal, maybe somebody close to you, maybe even yourself. I don't know. But what was it that caused you to start thinking that PTSD can be treated with cannabis?
Absolutely. With our lead cultivator, Andy Myers, who also served with me as a Marine Raider, he was one who first started bringing up, saying how great he's feeling using medical cannabis. I was dealing with my own post-traumatic stress issues, so I decided to try it myself, and it was really the first time I got a great night of sleep, and I really felt good. And I just said, hey, there's something here, and I think we can help save some lives with some veterans. So I left a pretty well-paying job in 2016 and just started on this journey. Told my wife what I wanted to do, and she backed me up 100%. And here we are today, getting ready to hopefully make some history.
How will this process operate? What will be the trial?
This first trial we have is a prospective study. It's an observational. We'll have 60 veterans, and they will come in and we'll do a non-invasive physical on them with the doctors from Niomedic, along with the doctors from UC Irvine. And then the veteran will go out and purchase some cannabis, and they will receive a phone call every week from Niomedic just to kind of check in how they're doing. It's going to be very journal intensive. And this will go on for about 3 months. And then once they're complete, we bring them in for the last interview, see how we do. And then we're just going to gather that data and then make some advanced medical cannabis that we know that has bared the most fruit, and go forward and do another study with probably about 200 veterans here in California. And
As
then
the
once,
as Yeah, I was going to say, as the saying goes, are you growing your own?
yes, yeah, we will be doing that, and we'll develop a formulation from this study.
So you're growing it in California?
Yes, sir.
So I mean, I'm trying to understand, in California, where weed is legal, someone who's a veteran who suffers from PTSD can buy it. But I guess there's a whole insurance aspect to this, maybe something tied into the VA system.
Yeah, right now they have to pay out of pocket essentially.
Right.
There will be no insurance. And what we're looking to do is more of a micro dosing. So it won't be something where you're getting high off of it. This is something, if you get up in the morning and you need a little cannabis, it'll get you going, help your body right, but you're not gonna have the side effects of feeling that euphoric high. And that's where the studies could really take place, that we think will be impactful. And then we know we'll have another one at nighttime that will be a little bit higher in THC content, because we're seeing veterans need that to kind of help put them down and get a good night of sleep. But this isn't going to be something where you just go out and you pick some stuff up and you start going on your own. We really want to kind of break this down and get the dosing and the correct strain.
Bryan, we throw around the acronym PTSD. As one who has suffered from it, what does it really mean? What is post-traumatic stress disorder?
Post-traumatic stress it's not a military issue. It's a human condition, and we all
Right.
can suffer from it. And just, we are all different in those terms. I would say for me, my post-traumatic stress really was not from the fighting on the battlefield with the enemy. It was a fight and we had to do what we had to do. To me, it was some of the things where I saw with some of the civilians around there who just got caught up in a bad situation. And definitely for me, when I had kids, it kind of exacerbated that situation where, I started just feeling the anxiety and having trouble sleeping at night and things of that nature. But thankful to medical cannabis, I mean, it just kind of turns down the noise and lets me relax and gives me a good night of sleep.
How does it manifest itself? What are the symptoms that you or others are dealing with?
I really think sleep is an issue. We all suffer, I think, from a term called hypervigilance, where we were always on alert. Obviously, when you're on patrol and you're scanning for IEDs or enemy snipers or everything above. So for me, it's kind of the anxiety and the hypervigilance side, and not being able to sleep, and then just dealing with the pain that we feel throughout our bodies. These are all kind of the symptoms that coincide that make up post-traumatic stress. And that's why, with this study, we want to kind of attack each symptom of seeing what works with sleep and pain and anxiety, and kind of build that super medicine, if you will, that can cover all aspects of post-traumatic stress.
So what does it mean to be the recipient of an IRB? That's what you said. And I don't think most of us really appreciate or understand that.
Yeah, it's to obtain a private IRB, I've talked with some doctors from Yale and Harvard, and they were just pretty impressed because they don't really give them out too often. There's a lot of institutional academic, but what the IRB means is we've been approved for human trials, and we can actually sit there, not do things with lab rats or anything. We can get our hands on some veterans and use cannabis and start proving how this medicine can help out with the symptoms of post-traumatic stress.
Do you have the pool that you need? Do you need any help from my audience? I have to imagine that we could fill your trial if need be.
Oh, well, absolutely. We're going to start getting everything put together here in the upcoming months, but please check out BowderBrothersFoundation.org, and you can go on there and you'll see where you can actually sign up for the research, and we'll go through there. It'll be a phone interview and then an in-person interview, and we're looking to get some great American candidates and really help out our veterans here.
Would they need to be in Southern California?
This first one, we wanted to have them in California. Dr. Victor Novak, who's in charge of our research, said, hey, it's called practicing medicine, and we just need to kind of fine tune this a little bit. So we'd rather have people in California that we can have maybe come in for a quick minute if we need to, versus someone in New York and we have to have them fly to Southern California. But as we grow and as we gain more experience, we're definitely going to open this up to more veterans.
So tell me again what I should put in social media if I want to promote the opportunity for a veteran to participate in your trial.
Yeah, if people could go and check out our nonprofit page, Bowder Brothers Foundation, at BowderBrothersFoundation.org. And you can check us out at Hellman Valley Growers Company at HVGCcompany.com. And again, like I say, if you're in California, you purchase our product, 100% of our profits goes back to veteran medical cannabis research.
So another of my naive questions, if your IRB is successful and if you can establish the causal connection that so many think is there for the treatment of PTSD with medical cannabis, what if I'm in a state that is not like California, so welcoming? Will I nevertheless be able somehow to get access?
Yeah, the ultimate goal is that we want to make this into the VA medical system, so it has access to all veterans. And I really think, you just saw what happened in Virginia with recreational happening with medical cannabis. I just think the appetite's there, where we're going to see sort of a snowball effect where more states will start coming online and providing medical cannabis. And we want to take Hellman Valley Growers Company, our medical brand, national, and make sure it can get into the hands of not just every veteran, but every patient in America.
Okay, I get it. So the ultimate goal would be that a veteran anywhere in the country through the VA would be able to gain access to medical cannabis for treatment of PTSD.
That's correct, sir.
Well, I wish you all good things about it. I'm going to in a moment have a conversation with my radio audience, and again, anecdotally sample what people have to say. If it's similar to what I've heard in the past, boy, according to those who weigh in, they almost to a person say it's been of really positive value to me.
Yeah, absolutely. I was there at one point where I was a non-believer of medical cannabis. I just thought it was something you just kind of did. But listen, look at me now. I'm a true believer. And like I said, we're putting everything behind this to make it happen, because, at the end of the day, I always think of what have I done for a veteran today? And that's what drives and motivates us here at Hellman Valley Growers Company.
Before you leave me, respond to a critic who might be hearing this conversation and thinks that it's a gateway and setting a dangerous precedent, even for military veterans.
Well, I would say you're right. It is a gateway. In terms of this, it will provide an opportunity for our American heroes who went forward and fought for us to come back home and to live the American dream that they defended for us. So I think it definitely is a gateway for our veterans to live the peace that they deserve and live that American dream.
Bryan Buckley. It's called Hellman Valley Growers Company. I wish you all good things. If I can't have a sample, at least send me a t-shirt. All right.
You got it.
Thank you, Bryan.
Thank you, sir.